UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the betting show for UFC Fight Night between Jéssica Andrade and Amanda Lemos. We're going to be breaking down two fights. One of them is going to be the main event of the evening, and as well as I'm going to be talking about fate of the card. There is one fight on here. I don't get the odds. I don't understand it. And really interested to see how it pans out. But we're going to be breaking that one down as well. But we're coming off basically an even night there. We went 1-2 last weekend on our client plays. Did hit on our 5% best bet play on Rafa Garcia. Didn't understand line movement there, but either way, he goes out there and dominates. Basically, over the last year, released about 13 of these 5% max bet plays. I'm 10-3 over that span, so that looks good there. But again, we ended up dropping some of our smaller plays and kind of evening it out for the night. But hey, this weekend we got a 4% best bet play. Over the last year, that's 62% winner. So looking forward to keep moving forward here. Like we always say, there is just so many betting opportunities. We got to take advantage of them when we can. And we got some this weekend we're going to be breaking down. Also, I have a lot of great things down the pike for the second half of 2022. Looking to do some collaborations with some other people within the industry, as well as just new shows, new stuff, just new content. Redoing my entire office there, so I'm going to have a lot of new kind of things going to be going on there. So really excited about that, and so keep a lookout for all of that. But don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. I really like all the comments that are going on. Listen, we're not always going to agree. We're definitely not. But it's us versus the bookies, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. We're all here to make money. So definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at KyleAnthonyUFC. So let's get into it now. I think it's time. So we're going to talk about the main event of the evening between Jéssica Andrade and Amanda Lemos. Right now you've got Jéssica. She's a -188 on the comeback here, plus 152 on Lemos. And like we always do around here, we're going to break down 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So we're first going to be talking about Jéssica Andrade, -188, and 3 fights ago, she fought Katlyn Chookagian. This was the type of fight where you've got the muscle, the strength, the power of Jéssica Andrade. On the other side, you've got Chookagian. She kind of does that annoying yell after every combination, punch, jab, anything she does basically. But she's got good volume, some pretty good movement. She just always has been kind of, she doesn't look very imposing, but she just has the volume, the movement that kind of at times makes it tough for opponents to kind of really dig in and find a rhythm when they're fighting her. But this is a spot here right away you saw Jéssica Andrade cutting distance, moving forward, and that's her style. Andrade likes to bully her opponents, push forward, throw the big shots. She is not scared to be taken down. She is not scared for somebody to clinch with her. She knows she has the power advantages when it comes to these clinching situations. Landed some big shots, and really with Chookagian, she has zero power behind these punches, but the volume's there. Didn't really scare Andrade at all. She kept moving forward, cutting distance. She body slammed Chookagian, had some good shots from top, and then at the end of that first round, she throws a nice body shot, drops Chookagian. She finishes her off with ground and pound. Fight over. Round 1 victory for Jéssica Andrade. So there you have it there. 2 fights ago, she fought Valentina Shevchenko. This was a title fight. This is a fight that really stylistically kind of looked to be an interesting style where you got, again, the power, the strength of Andrade. Is she going to be able, is Valentina going to be doing well off her back if Andrade kind of moves forward and gets these big takedowns? She's been able to do it to everybody. This was a situation, it just shows you how amazing that the bullet is. Valentina is incredible when it comes to this, and she was able to go out there and out-bully the bullier. And you don't really look at, we definitely know that Shevchenko has, she's strong, she's a strong girl, you've seen her, she definitely has really, she's built, but not built like Andrade. And early in this fight, you saw just how Shevchenko getting these takedowns, throwing Valentina down, throwing Andrade down multiple times, and this was something we have never seen. And if this is and everybody thought, hey, the only path is really the big shot from Andrade, or Andrade throwing her down and just working that strength. Valentina, instead of Valentina kind of working from the outside, using her counter striking, you know, her fantastic kicking game, she decided, I'm going to go exactly where you think your strength is, and I'm going to show you I'm better. And at times that could really fuck up, the opponent there. Where hey, I'm going to go to your strength, and then the strength backfires. They end up losing. But boy, did she go out there throwing around Andrade in the first round, landing good strikes. You know, and then there was a point Valentina was really more engaging, getting these takedowns, getting top control. There was even a spot where Andrade tried to get the big slam, couldn't even get Valentina, just the way that she was maneuvering and hand fighting, and then ended up countering and getting Andrade down. From there, she did land some big shots from the top, throwing big elbows. Fight over. Valentina wins via knockout, second round. So there you have it there. And then most recently, Andrade fought Cynthia Calvillo. This was one here. Andrade was a client play here. Line, you know, forget about that. We'll talk about another time. But this was a spot here where really, I am just not big at all on Calvillo. I'm just not big at all on her skill set, where she is. She was really kind of starting to build this hype when she first came into the UFC, you know, working on her boxing, you know, has good ground game, and she definitely is lethal on the ground. We've seen her when she can get somebody down. She definitely is very quick to start to submission hunt, get in good positions. But this was a spot here where she was bullied. I mean, and Calvillo is another person who doesn't have strength. Can't really get those takedowns that she needs to really secure position to get these submissions. But this was a spot here where heavy early pressure, once again from Andrade, landing big shots, walking her down. And this was something where, again, there was a point where Andrade just kind of looked and said, you're not really going to hurt me with these shots. And she just went heavy, big shots, ended up getting the stoppage, ended that first round. So Andrade gets the victory there. Now on the other side, we've got Amanda Lemos, plus 152. And 3 fights ago, she fought Lavinia Souza. And Souza, I mean, listen, these are some I'm not going to really be breaking down here. This was a spot here where it was forward pressure from Lemos. She came forward, dropped Souza early in the fight. It almost looked like Souza, when that happened, she wanted no part of this fight anymore. Kept pushing, landing big shots, ended up getting the first round knockout finish, TKO finish. Again, no reason to dive into it, so there you have it there. 2 fights ago, this is another one. Mazerat Conejo, and this was a 30-something second fight. Girl probably shouldn't have even been in there. I don't even know, but this was a spot here where, again, you saw the big heavy hands again. Drops her. She gets on top. Lemos gets the finish. Again, there's nothing to really break down here because I want to talk about. So there were 2 very nice first round finishes though, but I want to talk about this Angela Hill fight, which I think really speaks the most volume when you're breaking this fight down. If you're watching anybody who isn't talking about this fight, it doesn't make sense. This was really the eye-opening fight for me, and really when you look at it here, this was another spot where you've got Angela Hill, you know, crafty veteran, she's definitely of a stature when it comes to the division. But, you know, again, she's not that, she just really has never been that upper echelon fighter. And this was going to be the toughest test by far for Lemos compared to some of these fighters that she's been fighting. So this was a situation here where early, you know, it was really to game plan for Lemos, where she came in early, throwing big shots, you know, defending very well, and then throws a beautiful front kick that drops Hill. She gets on top. It almost looked like this could be the end. This could be over. Landing some big shots, you know, she did do well in that situation there, you know, where she was kind of, you know, Hill got back up, she landed some nice shots, but after that first round, into that second round, it was almost as if, you know, Lemos just kind of said, wait a minute, this girl ain't out of here yet, you know, and you definitely saw a slight tick down when you're talking about output, you're talking about volume, you're talking about even just body language. She almost looked like, I can't put this girl away. And into that second round, really Hill had a ton of success. She was landing shots, she was hurting her, she was pushing forward. And again, I don't put Hill into this high level, you know, caliber of striker. I mean, look back at some of these girls that she's lost to or had very close fights with. But it was going into that third round, it was really 1-1. And again, this is very interesting though, but again, it was a situation where, hey, can Lemos, you know, push forward, land some big shots, and get this finish? Because, you know, again, we're watching her knock girls out in the UFC. Can she really kind of get a little further against an upper echelon fighter? And this was by here in that third round. I would give it to Hill. I would have given that third round to Hill. I thought, she dropped Lemos late in that round. She had some good control. It looked like Lemos, there was even points where she was inactive. She looked worn down. She looked tired. And Hill went balls to the wall, pushing forward. I thought she did enough. I believe there was like a quick takedown of some sort where Hill, kind of had top control and maybe Lemos got back up. But optically speaking, it looked like Hill won that fight. Lemos gets the victory, but there you have it there on that fight. So with that being said, first thing we obviously got to talk about is Jéssica Andrade and her power, her strength. We know that. That's nothing I'm not telling you you don't know. But again, the power, the strength, the heavy hands, the ability to go there and just body slam anybody, not scared to be on the ground with pretty much anybody because she's very, very strong and ripping the hands apart, getting out of danger. She just has that advantage over a lot of the women in the division. And her bully forward style, bully forward, moving forward, dictating the pace of the fight, staying in your opponent's face, forcing the action. And that's kind of the way that Andrade fights. And on the other side, Lemos fights pretty similar. You've got a girl who has power, versatile striking. I do like some of her striking. I mean, she definitely uses a lot more weapons than Andrade. Andrade's boxing heavy, where you got Lemos. She definitely has, like we saw, a good front kick, mixing up her combinations with head strikes, body strikes, using her feet, using her hands. A lot of that stuff, I think, has really put her in a better position against maybe lesser fighters. But the part of it here, I think, that is really the biggest part of this fight when I was breaking this down, and I really believe that it's just the early barrage that Lemos does really goes right into what Andrade loves to do. So you've got a girl, it's not that she's going to get away from the pack. She is probably going to stand in a phone booth, look to fire, look to get close, look to land big shots. Lemos is very comfortable. She believes in her power. Of course, Andrade believes in her power. And that's something that Andrade is going to welcome in that first round. She's going to welcome the chaos. She's going to welcome the phone booth fighting. I think that really plays right into Andrade's game. A lot of times people want to stay on the outside. They want to pick her apart. They want to throw volume, get her off her game, take her down, not stand toe-to-toe and bang. And I believe that's what Lemos is going to want to do. And you've seen in other fights, she wants that. When other girls are moving around, she's not as comfortable. Again, she has some versatile striking, but that is definitely something I believe that Andrade can take advantage of. Then on the other side, also, we've got the fact that, Angela Hill's last fight. Angela Hill's last fight, I mean, the fact that she went far, I mean, the fact that, that she went far into the fight is, I guess, a good thing. But when you really look at it and you're really taking it down to what is going on and what's happening and what happened in that fight, she got the victory, but didn't look good after that first round. And Hill, who I believe just doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the power, maybe a little bit more volume and striking, on the feet compared to Andrade, where Andrade is just heavy-handed. But there were spots there where really it gives you a lot of worry and an eye-opening where just, Lemos really should have brought it to, a sweeping 3-round decision. She didn't get the finish, but a 3-round decision victory should have been for Lemos. It was very close. I believe she lost the fight. But either way, that's very big. That's a step up for her, and it was very, very close. Where you've got someone like Andrade, who has fought the who's who of the division, of the rankings, by far. She's up there as one of the, has faced all the champions, had success, had some failures, but still has been in the cage with just absolute animals. That is massively different. You've got a girl who's prepared for 5 rounds multiple times. Lemos, obviously, it's a little bit different for her. So that also is going to be adding even more to Andrade in this spot here. And also the fact that people really talk about Andrade as this, like, over the hill, she's been around for so long. If you look at the ages, Andrade is 30. Lemos is 34. The fact that she's 4 years older, people forget. You kind of put Lemos into this, she's this up-and-comer. She's got 1 loss. She's been knocking. She's a new on the scene. It doesn't mean that she's bad or good based off her age, off 34, which isn't way over the hill in this sport by any means. But you got to realize that Andrade's a younger girl. I also like that too, having a little bit of that youth on her side, having the experience on her side. I think a lot of that stuff really, really matters. So for me here, I like Jéssica Andrade, obviously. I think this is just too much for Lemos here. If you're looking at the odds here, you've got Jéssica Andrade, she's minus 188. I think she gets the job done. Now, we're in here in a 5-round fight. I like Andrade going out there and getting this knockout. I think the number's good. You got plus 230 on Andrade via knockout. I think that is really where this fight's going to be. Whether you like Lemos or whether you like Andrade, I don't think this goes 5 rounds. I think both girls go real heavy, and even if it's later into the fight, I even think there's an opportunity there where just, gas tank and could start to really affect both of them, allowing somebody to kind of take advantage here. So for me here in this spot, I like Jéssica Andrade going out there, finding that finish. This is too much. I think she's got the power to do it. Plus 230 on Andrade via knockout is my free play. Now, the other free play we're going to be talking about is Jourdain Wright versus Marc-André. Barriault, you've got Barriault, he is minus 170. You've got Jourdain Wright at plus 140. This one I'm going to kind of go a little bit quicker here, but the first red flag here for me is the fact that Barriault was knocked out brutally 2 months ago. Now, I don't know if I'm hearing people talking about this or not, but this is another spot where this is a bad sign for a guy now that was just brutally knocked out and now is facing a guy who has power, who has finishing ability, and who has finishing ability very, very early in fights. I think this is really, really a bad setup actually for Barriault. Again, if you kind of push this back a little bit, maybe it helps him. But this quickly of a comeback after that brutal knockout, I think is very, very, very quick for him there. But you got on the feet here, you got Jourdain Wright, who is just way better on the feet, more versatile, better striking, has some power. He's a kind of guy where, he's going to have those more weapons, utilizing his kicking game. He definitely has more. We've got Barriault, who is going to be that grinder, who's going to push forward. He's going to try to make it sloppy. He's going to try to lean on you, grind, get on you, dirty boxing. That's kind of, the way that he's going to be able to kind of smother that attack from Jourdain Wright, and that's going to be really where his wheelhouse is. He does not want to stay on the outside with him, so he's going to have to. But you look at what Jourdain Wright has done. Again, guy that's just new to the UFC, but out of his 12 wins, he has a 100% finish rate. 11 of those wins came in the first round, 1 came in the second round, 7 knockouts, maybe it was 5 submissions. That he has, which, again, this is a spot here where you've got a guy who just came off a big knockout, loss, who may be slightly timid coming into this fight against a guy who loves to start quick, who comes in there, looks for that early kill, and that is definitely where Barriault can find, it's definitely where Jourdain Wright can find success on Barriault. I think he can push forward, land the big shots. He's a big guy also, Jourdain Wright is. He's not this little guy here, so he's going to be able to kind of defend some of those takedowns. I think that's going to help him also work in the clinch a little bit there. Again, Barriault's going to have to make this ugly. He's going to have to make this 30. He's going to have to, grind on him. The slicker combinations is 100% going to Jourdain Wright. Faster hands, better combinations. And I think that he's going to hurt Barriault early. And I think whether he finishes him in the first round or moves in, I think early Barriault's going to take some shots there. So you could go Jourdain Wright knockout. There's definitely going to be a little bit more meat on the bone there. But this is a spot here where I'm comfortable at plus 140. So for me here, as my other free play, I am taking Jourdain Wright plus 140. And the last thing, again, quickly going to talk about, trying to shorten up these shows a little bit. Sometimes I talk and don't shut the fuck up. So I'm trying to make these a little bit quicker. Sometimes I'm not even sure if I even do that. But fade of the card we're going to be talking about, and the fade of the card, boy, I don't understand this one, is Tyson Pedro minus 590. What the fuck is that? I don't get it. Okay, maybe I do get it a little bit because you're facing Villanueva, who is just a mess, I guess is kind of the way to put it. But let's take a look at this. Let's dive into this here. First thing here is there's nobody in the UFC that Tyson Pedro should be a nearly minus 600. There's nobody that's breathing in the UFC should be a -600 against Tyson Pedro. Now, the first thing here is that obviously you've got on the one side here, you've got like Villanueva here. We know his situation here. Guy, he's 1 in 4. I think he's 1 in 4 out of his last 5. He's had some bad losses. He's 18 and 13 over his career. Again, a lot of these things, he's a sloppy guy, limited output. He, doesn't really do too much where it comes to, it's just stand in the pocket. You're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you. And that's pretty much all he does. Now you've got, on the other side, you've got Tyson Pedro. Now, Tyson Pedro was 1 in 3 out of his last 4, which obviously, again, not the greatest thing there. But the last fight for Tyson Pedro was 2018 against Shogun Rua, where he was knocked out. Terrible. Now, this already is massive red flags. Now, I talk about this a lot, where I talk about my client plays, I talk about it on the show, in my write-ups. Ring rust is real. Ring rust is a real thing. Now, of course, it's different for everybody. It's hard to gauge that. I think it's hard to really, understand how does that affect. But, we've seen it where there's, people out for 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, all these things. This is a roughly 4-year layoff for Tyson Pedro in a spot where he is a massive favorite. I don't understand it. And again, he's 7, if I remember correctly, Tyson Pedro's 7 and 3. It's not this guy that has had this high level experience and he took time off and he's back. He didn't really look that good. I mean, the fact that against Shogun Rua, no offense, Shogun Rua, guy's a legend, but at that time, that was really, I think, more meant for a Tyson Pedro win, get him kind of moving up the ranks, get the old guy out of there, build his name a little bit off Shogun. It completely backfired for him there. So I just don't get it here. Again, this is a spot where even the situation here over the last 4 years, while Tyson Pedro has not been fighting, Ike fought 8 times. He went 4 and 4. Some of those were in another organization. It just doesn't make sense. He's got almost 3 times the amount of MMA experience compared to Tyson Pedro. Again, this is not something I'm hammering. This is not something I'm diving into. But let me tell you something. There is nowhere that Tyson Pedro ever should be a -590 against anybody. It makes no sense. Maybe with the Tyson Fury fight, people see Tyson and they're fucking betting it. I don't get it. But this is a dog or pass for me here, and I will definitely be sprinkling Ike Villanueva, whether it's by knockout, whether it's him straight. I just think that this line is way out of proportion. Nothing I'm hammering, but it is definitely worth a sprinkle for me here. So I think the sloppy Ike can get the job done. But the fade of the card is Tyson Pedro. And again, these fades of the card are not hammering the other side. It's more people who are looping these in parlays. They're just throwing in a leg thinking, hey, he should have this easy victory. Is Tyson Pedro the better fighter? Yes, I believe that he is. Do we know that for sure off of this price plus out years and years? No, we don't. So this line makes no sense to me. Fade of the card, Tyson Pedro. So there you have it. So there you have it for my plays for UFC Fight Night this Saturday. I've got a 4% best bet play up, link down in the description. And let's see how we do. We have cashed in 8 of 12 UFC events in 2022. Let's keep it going. This is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.